Before we even start this, we need to make one thing very clear. Someone's sex is not the same thing as someone's gender. Someone's sex is their biological and physical anatomy, whereas someone's gender is how they identify. This can be male, female, both or neither, no matter their sex.
Just checking, Miss Nealon, we have all your permission for everything. We're being ethical about this.
It scares me when you say that.
So we've had a week to celebrate and appreciate our diversity. Dictionary.com defines diversity as the state or fact of being diverse, difference, unlikeness. For example, a diversity of opinion. But what does diversity mean to you?
To me, diversity just simply means a difference.
Equality in difference.
Diversity means all sorts of different approaches to living your life, a diverse system of beliefs, a diverse system of approaches to finding your own personal path to happiness.
Do you think that diversity applies to the social life and environment at Cheltenham?
Yes, I think it can, because we're a pretty multicultural school. We have, especially even religious groups within the school, we have different types of scriptures, we offer different kinds of food, we hold things like Diversity Week now.
Certainly can. We're a huge diverse population here. We've got a lot of racial differences here, we've got a lot of educational differences, different interests, all of the sports and activities that we can do. So yes, Cheltenham is a very diverse population.
In a multicultural sense, I'd say yes. And I'd say that exists because everyone's here with a common aim. And that common aim is to do well at school, to advance themselves and work together.
Sexual and gender diversity simply means that everybody has different personal understandings of these concepts and identifies in different ways. There is no right, wrong, or normal way to identify. Now that we understand this, do you think there is acceptance of gender or sexually diverse people in our community?
I think some people are very accepting and some people aren't.
No, not enough. We're getting there, but it's still not enough. And I think the reason is because people aren't acknowledging and talking about it. It's still a taboo.
I feel that there is definitely an acceptance there, but because there's not an established dialogue about people who are gender diverse, I think that that is occasionally misconstrued for unacceptance.
No, I don't think there is, and I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess, two sides, and one side of that is that it's not spoken about, it's not acknowledged. People are kind of probably scared of it because they're not familiar with, what it means.
Prime Minister Tony Abbott has said he's threatened by homosexuals, and that he'd advocate for don't ask, don't tell policies when it comes to these kinds of things. Do you think that Mr. Abbott's views are shared by our community?
God, I certainly hope not. It's an appalling view. It's narrow-minded, it's influenced by political beliefs, it's influenced by religious beliefs to stay in political office. I would be horrified to think that the community in general shared those views.
I would really hope not. Somebody such a small part of a person being their sexual preference is threatening is a bit scary. I don't find who people love threatening, and for me it's scary that other people would see it as a threat.
I think don't ask, don't tell is soul destroying. I think it's such a way of treating people as third-class citizens. How dare you bear witness to who you honestly are?
With influential figures like the PM advocating for don't ask, don't tell policies, how can we improve awareness of gender and sexual diversity?
I think in general, just more exposure to it. The more exposed people are to differences, the less of a fear it becomes, the less of a weird or different thing it is. It just becomes something that's the norm and that we can accept, just like religious or cultural diversity.
I think it's really important that we challenge the status quo to remind people that there is more than just male and female.
I think we need to start by having a conversation. Love is what keeps us together, and The more we love people, the better we get at loving people. And when we ostracise a group in society and we don't love them, we're diminished as well as what we do to other people.
What do you think is an environment where acceptance thrives?
I think there's no one answer that can solve that, and I think it's just continued awareness raising and continue education, and I suppose it would require someone to be the advocate and come out and say, I'm gay, I'm proud.
A positive one, an accepting one, and one that essentially says, okay, cool, let's move on.
One in which we stop putting people in boxes and judging people by categories instead of by the person that they are.
Well, I'd like to hope that Cheltenham will be an environment where acceptance can thrive. I'm sure there's things we need to work on, but I'd like to think that, yeah, everyone here would be able to feel that they're accepted.
How do stereotypes influence perceptions of gender and sexually diverse people?
The more we focus on stereotypes, the less people feel that they can identify with how they really are inside themselves.
I think there's a lot of, I guess, stereotypes associated with different gender diversities, and with every stereotype, I mean, stereotypes are stupid and they shouldn't exist necessarily, and so we need to think about what preconceived ideas might we have about someone who identifies differently to us in terms of their gender or their sexual orientation, and try and overcome them.
So, how do we overcome these stereotypes?
By just putting things out in the open more. I mean, the more we talk about something, the more people will get used to it and learn to accept things more.
Just get people to stop seeing the labels.
By breaking them down. Stereotypes are manufactured, that stereotypes are brought out of ignorance, and stereotypes are brought out of mass generalisations.
Talk, 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 talk and talk. Never lose our cool. Never forget what the main goal is, that is, it's respect and it's dignity, and that's something everybody's entitled to. And it's not altruistic on our part, it's not something that's going to make us feel good because we're doing a good thing. The more we respect people, the more we are respected in return. As soon as you treat people as other, you demonise them or you stereotype them, you diminish yourself.
What do you, as an educator or a student, hope that the Cheltenham community has gained from Diversity Week?
I hope that Cheltenham learns to accept everyone's differences and everyone's different opinions and learn to be unjudgmental.
Greater acceptance. The girls are fabulous at working together as a team, and I just hope that through Diversity Week they get to acknowledge how good they are at doing it, and they can see the very small changes they can make in their day that would make a really big difference on the girls who need it.
I certainly hope that it's something that we can talk about.
I think as long as we promote within the school that everyone can be who they want, they can embrace their own identity, then that's good.
I hope it's thinking about how hard it is for people to actually, at a certain age, to come out and be proud of who they are. I think it's important that the girls embrace this, and maybe it provides a platform for those girls that are identifying as in that way, that they don't feel like they're on their own, and that they aren't. It's not something that they should be ashamed of, and they can be very proud of that.
They're going to learn that we have many different people in this school, and there's a place for every one of them in this school. No student is excluded from the education. No student should be excluded from the friendship group just because they're different. The bottom line is, I know when you're growing up everybody wants to be the same, but guess what? Everyone's different.
And finally, do you have any last words to share with the girls?
I want to say that the number one argument that I find against homosexuality in particular is that it isn't natural, which is ridiculous. There's two things I have to say about that. For one, what makes you think it isn't natural? There are 1,500 species that we have found engaging in homosexuality today, so it is natural. And secondly, I don't think that what you're doing is natural. Are you living in a cave? Are you eating raw meat? Here you are pumping dead dinosaurs into a car so you can travel faster than any human has ever run before. That isn't natural. So how can you be so hypocritical and judge someone on who they love and think it's not natural when actually it is?
To try and have a greater tolerance of other people.
To be yourself. There's nothing to be ashamed of in just being you. The only person you can be is the one that you feel most comfortable with. And if other people have a problem with any of the choices you've made, then that's their problem.
My biggest message would be, if you are struggling with your sexual identity, is not struggle alone. You do need to see a professional, because it can be very difficult. Have someone that you can talk it over with, and that there's nothing wrong with you. It's fine if you have those feelings. So be happy in yourself, accept yourself first, and get everyone else to accept you. But there's nothing wrong with you. I hate the concept that, you know, you have to fix people. That's a ridiculous thing.
Acceptance of everyone is a great thing. Diversity is great. You know, the world would be a very, very boring place if we all looked the same, we all acted the same, we all thought the same things. So, you know, just have a think and accept everyone.
I think that as long as people know we're not pushing for one person's view or to change anyone's mind, it's just to accept the fact that inside we're all human beings. We're not the label that society puts on us.
Think about how you want to be treated, and therefore you treat someone in that way, and that's pretty much applies to everything in life. How you treat someone is, you know, how you want to be treated in return.
My message to Cheltenham girls: you are not alone. Things may seem challenging now, but things will get better, I promise. To all of those struggling to come to terms with the identity that you have been born with, I want you to know that I care and that I hear you. This school is a safe and absolutely loving place where difference is celebrated every single day and valued. Feel safe to come out and enjoy the sun, and I want you to know that we are 100% behind you.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I was gay, cause I could draw. My uncle was, and I kept my room straight. I told my mom, tears rushing down my face. She's like, Ben, you've loved girls since before pre-K. Tripping. Yeah, I guess she had a point, didn't she?
So, what does diversity... Okay, stop playing with that.
But I'm nervous.
No. Nugget, no. Nugget, get off.
No, let her be here. It'll add to the diversity of the video.
If I say you have to edit it out.
Somehow forgotten, but we paraphrase a book written 3,500 years ago.